genealogies and so on? Doesn't it say that we shouldn't be quarrelsome? Is it right for a Christian to argue about these things? Because we've also got to bring into it what the Apostle Jude says when he talks about that we should contend earnestly for the faith which was once for all delivered unto the saints. So, what is the answer? Should we be arguing about doctrine with other Christians? Well, I think the answer is both yes and no. It depends what the doctrine is. If it's, are you pre, mid or post-tribulation, then, perhaps no. But when it comes to salvation, when it comes to how a person is saved or how a person is justified before God, then I think we must argue, and we must argue earnestly. And let's not, pretend it's a discussion. It's not. It's an argument. And I like the comment that David Pawson made about the book of Galatians. He says it is a book that argues. As we've gone through the book of Galatians, we can see it is a book that argues. It argues intelligently. It argues emotionally. Remember the Apostle Paul, the strong emotion, the personal plea that he made to those Christians in Galatia. And so it is a book that argues, and it argues about doctrine. And as with all Paul's epistles, it has this one sort of major theme coming through it, and that's the centrality and the preeminence of faith. Let's just contrast it for a moment with some of the other epistles that Paul wrote, and you can look at what he says about faith in them. If you turn to Ephesians 2, Ephesians chapter 2 and verse 8. Ephesians 2 verse 8. For by grace are ye saved through faith, and that not of yourselves, it is the gift of God, not of works, lest any man should boast. And then turn to Romans 3. Romans chapter 3 and verse 28. Therefore we conclude that a man is justified by faith without the deeds of the law. Verse 29 he says, is he the God of the Jews only? Is he not also of the Gentiles? Yes, of the Gentiles also, seeing it is one God which shall justify the circumcision by faith and uncircumcision through faith. Again, it's this centrality of faith. And then Romans 11. Romans 11 and verse 19. Remember the Apostle Paul talked about the Gentiles as being a wild olive shoot that was grafted in to that natural olive tree which was Israel, that they joined in to the covenant that was made with Israel, that you've been grafted in. And verse 19 says this, thou wilt say then that branches were broken off that I might be grafted in. Well, because of unbelief they were broken off, and thou standest by what? Faith. Be not high-minded, but fear. For if God spared not the natural branches, take heed lest he also spare not thee. So we can see with the three examples that we looked at, that salvation is through faith. In Ephesians 2 verse 8 to 9. In Romans 3:28, justification is through faith. And Romans 11:19, you stand by faith. So again, it's that centrality of faith that the Apostle Paul is talking about. But again, you stand by faith. You don't stand by some decision you made years ago and then that's it. Every day when you face the strength of your flesh opposing the things of the Spirit, every day, again, you must stand by faith. You know, the Lord Jesus talks about denying yourself and taking up your cross daily. So it is a daily thing. We stand by faith, not by something that we did years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago. Every day we stand by faith in the promises of God, by faith in exercising our faith in what God has done. The Bible doesn't talk just about faith as some separated ethereal thing. It talks about faith as being something that connects. It connects to the Lord Jesus. It connects to him. That's what faith does, and it brings about everything that grace has given to us. And this is the liberty wherewith Christ hath made us free. The liberty is that now you can choose. You can choose whether you're going to follow God, whether you're going to follow Jesus Christ or not. When you become a Christian, there's a choice that faces you every day. Joshua 24 says, choose this day whom you will serve. Joshua 24:15. So we get to choose. If you're a Christian, you get to choose every day whether you're going to follow Jesus Christ, whether you're going to walk in obedience to him or not. And you stand that day by faith.